He tried to run his old fitness, and his body had other ideas. In this week's Park Run progress report, we're looking at Paul Cannell's Park Run from Lost Lagoon number 46 on the 11th of April this year. He ran a 20 minutes and 1 second split. Now, Paul's background, if we look back a few months ago, June last year, he ran a 18:48 for a PB, followed up the week after with an 18:44, so 4 seconds quicker for another PB, 18:46, 18:45, 4 weeks in a row. Now, unfortunately, Paul succumbed to a hamstring injury afterwards, and this was basically a comeback run for him. Let's have a bit of a look at it. So, this is a really interesting run because Paul has given his honest feedback to me already. He stated, I started way too ambitious, blew out and suffered throughout. And honestly, he's largely right. But there's also more nuance to this performance than simply bad pacing. Because underneath the slowdown, there are still signs of competitiveness, residual fitness, and a runner whose instincts still remember an 1845, or what 1845 shape feels like, even if the body currently isn't there yet. Old fitness meets reality. Splits of 334, 402, 403, 413, 425. That opening kilometre is very aggressive. Very aggressive relative to recent training consistency, current injury status, and the eventual finishing pace. And this is important. He didn't start at slightly optimistic pace. He started at his old fitness pace. And that's a common trap for previously fit runners returning from interruption or injury. The first kilometre explains almost everything. 334 opening kilometre projects towards low 18-minute shape, but the body currently isn't carrying the durability, consistency, or conditioning to support that effort. So what happens? The body immediately tries to stabilize. And we see that in the abrupt drop from 334 to 402. That's not just a natural slowing down, that is a correction. And here's the important thing, he did stabilize. This is actually a positive. After the correction of 402, 403, and that tells us he regained control reasonably well. Full implosion would have looked more like 334, 402, 420, 440, but he held things together through the middle. That's significant. The gradual fade late makes a complete sense. He then ran a 413 and then a 425. This is where accumulated fatigue, the early lactate cost, and likely hamstring protection started influencing the run more heavily. The body is now carrying the price of the opening kilometre, plus reduced training consistency and plus injury limitations. Now, the heart rate data is fascinating. Heart rate's at 1K of 164 or thereabouts. Then it drops to 155, 164 again, 164, and then at the finish, I did see it 169. There we go, 169. The drop from 164 down to 155 after the opening kilometre is really telling. It strongly suggests the body had to back off significantly after the first kilometre to recover from that initial effort. And that aligns perfectly with the pacing data. Then the heart rate stabilizes and before lifting again late as he re-engages. The cadence tells an even stronger story. At the 1K, we're looking at 178, 180, thereabouts. At the 2 kilometre, it's dropped down to 170. At 3 kilometre, 168. At 4 kilometre, 166. The progressive decline reflects fatigue, loss of elasticity, and reduced efficiency, and likely some conscious protection around the hamstring. Then at about this 4.4K mark here, cadence suddenly rises again, and it's up around 180, 182 at the finish. I did see some 182s in there when I first looked at this. But still, it's a significant, oh, there we go, 182. Jump straight up to that. He clearly changed gears and stepped into things and held that reasonably well to the finish. That's the really interesting moment because it tells us the competitive instinct is still there. Even after suffering through the run, he still found another gear late, and that says a lot mentally. Now, the injury context of Paul's run changes everything. Without the hamstring context, you'd simply say poor pacing. But with 6 to 8 months disrupted, inconsistent training and tendon issues, the story becomes a previously strong runner trying to reconnect with old performance identity. And that's a very human thing. The 1845 brain versus the current body problem is a classic for experienced runners. Mentally, they still know what fast running feels like, and they still identify with those performances. But physiologically, the support systems aren't fully rebuilt yet. So pacing decisions are often made from memory rather than from your current readiness. And that's exactly what this looks like. The positive news, the speed instincts still exist. And that matters because even though this hurt, the ability to move fast still exists. Cadence can still lift and competitiveness is still there. Now the job becomes rebuilding durability underneath it all. What this run really shows, this wasn't a runner who can't run fast anymore. This was a runner trying to run tomorrow's fitness with yesterday's confidence. It's a big difference. The key takeaway for Paul, fitness lost through injury returns best when practice catches up with ambition. Now, my overall assessment, this can be best described as an overly ambitious but highly competitive comeback effort, showing strong residual ability underneath, reduced durability, and interrupted training. The body always tells the truth about current fitness, even when the mind remembers something faster. So that was Paul's run. Ambitious early, painful through the middle, but still full of signs that the speed is still there underneath. If you'd like me to break down your own park run or a 5K like this, pacing, fitness trends, race execution, and exactly where your next gains can come from, you can apply for your own parkrun progress report at the link below. Ka kite anō, and I'll see you in the next video.